What? I'm so sorry. Hey, what's up, YouTube? Hello, chat. I figured, you know what? It's the end of the year and we're about to do a tier list. Let me roll up my sleeves, unbutton. Wait, I don't have a button on my top shirt, so I guess rubbing hands is a thing, right? Welcome to the 2021 to 2022 Warframe tier list. Yes. So, for those who are sensitive and are afraid of getting their feelings hurt, then this is the place for you, because nobody cares about your feelings. God forbid someone has an opinion. Let me tell you something. Whatever your opinion is, it's definitely wrong. Let's get started. So I'll be going over these warframes. We're gonna go in alphabetical order. I might forget an alphabet here and there because I'm dumb, but we'll start in alphabetical order, starting from A all the way down to Z. Here we are. We're going to be looking at a very bright background because apparently this website doesn't have dark mode. So, taking a look at Ash. For those who don't know, Ash is one of my most used warframes in endurance runs. I love this warframe. He's amazing at what he does, and that is endurance runs. He's an endurance warframe. Yes, you could use him for spy missions, etc, etc. To be honest, you can use any warframe for any content, but Ash is specifically used for high tier endurance runs. His first ability with the augment allows you to strip 100% of the enemy's armor. His shuriken is a crowd control ability and turns you invisible. His 3 teleports. His Ridge 4 is a pseudo exalted weapon that scales off your weapon's combo, but not base damage mods. But funny enough, with Arcane Fury. Now, if you haven't seen my Ash videos where I go up against level 9,999, do go check this out. But unfortunately, he's just a basic warframe with one niche playstyle. So for those Ash mains who are angry that I put your warframe in this list, good. Ash will still remain in B tier. Now, let's go to Atlas. Just like Ash, Atlas has a niche playstyle. What is that niche playstyle? Press 3 and just press 1. So petrify enemies, press 1, and things die. That's about it. That's Atlas's playstyle. His 2 is not used for anything. You would definitely helmet out your second ability. His 4, dumb AI, but they're good at one thing: being dumb and crowd controlling enemies, and also killing them off so you can build up rubble. That's about it. So where do we put Atlas in this tier list? Yes, he break, he smash. He, just like Ash, right, is basic, but unfortunately he's too niche for anything else. Gets a C tier. Now we come to Banshee. Banshee. How so many people, there's so many people that dislike Banshee, saying she's squishy, she can't do anything. But just get good at the game, dude. It's an easy PvE game. Just get good at it. Banshee has one of the best damage multipliers. There are some arguments that, oh, she can't put her sonar on eidolons. You don't need that for eidolons. You one tap them without any crazy sonar buff. Just vigorous swap, shoot through a volt shield, bango bango, things are dead, right? But her silence is one of the best crowd controlling tools in the game. Why? Because for one, it will disable any enemy ability within its radius. That being said, if an acolyte spawns, let's say violence, you know, that acolyte that takes away your abilities or takes away the ability for you to go into your operator or use anything against him, well, guess what? Silence does exactly what he does and tells that acolyte to shut up. And then you can just go to town on him. Not go to town on him, but, you know, go to town on him. Sonic Boom with its augment is great to armor strip enemies. Yes, it's annoying you push them back, but guess what? If you're an endurance player, you can actually push back demolists with this ability. Combining with the condemn, you can CC them and push them back while armor stripping them. Sonar, crazy damage multiplier, works on pretty much anything. Yes, there are a few enemies that doesn't work on, but still, crazy huge damage multiplier. Her 4th ability is her worst ability, that's why I replaced it. Banshee, definitely an A tier warframe. Now we go to the bad boy himself, the monk with the biggest trunk. That sounded so bad. So now, everybody's favorite pacifist, but it technically ain't a pacifist because he's gonna take you out. He has a very unique playstyle. You either build for his 1 and 2, or you build for his 2, 3, and 4. You cannot have the full package, but he gives you the full package, if you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? You cannot immediately start kicking their butts with your melee weapon because you have to erode your restraint meter. This little thing right here. Once you erode it, you can just go to town on them. Building up combo on his exalted weapon will give you a 3.75 times base damage multiplier, which is insane. Putting that together with a very strong desert wind build allow you to destroy enemies. Okay, build attack speed on him. I swear to God, if you put Prime Fury here instead of attack speed, you're dumb. And even more attack speed. And how do you build combo? You make melee contact hits with his fists. If you keep on saying I can't build combo and all you're doing are waves, well, yeah, that's it. Waves don't build combo. The actual physical contact hits will build combo. More combo built up, more damage. And if you want red crits, all you have to put are these 3 gladiator mods on your weapon. But what about these ones? These don't matter. These, if you want to use this weapon as a regular weapon. But what's important is just having the gladiator mods. You just will get the set bonus of these mods on your exalted weapon to give you those red crits. That's about it. But since he's such a crazy damage dealing Warframe, can one-tap acolytes. If you haven't seen my infinite red creed BARUUK build, go check that out. He can one-tap acolytes. Is that deadly? Where do we put this guy? We definitely put him in A tier. That good. Coming to CHROMA. Unfortunately, he will be in D tier. D tier. Why D tier? Because he only has one thing. One thing. He's only good for credits. Till today, only good for credits. His 3 gives him a base damage multiplier and armor, but you have to take damage to your health to get the base damage multiplier. Guess what? Gun arcanes exist. Now you may be wondering, oh, but my CHROMA's tanky, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of tanky Warframes, and being tanky doesn't make you special in any way. He's only good at one thing, and that one thing was Eidolon hunts, but then guess what? He's actually the worst at Eidolon hunts nowadays. He's only good for Profiteer because of his 4th ability gives you 2 times credit booster. So unfortunately, CHROMA is stuck in D tier. He would have been put in garbage, but he has a use, unlike the upcoming Warframes. Ember. Ember is your fire queen, your fire chicken. Her 1st ability can be very useful in Eidolon hunts, giving you heat damage bonus. Combine it with electric on your weapon, you get radiation. Her 2, some damage reduction, build up the emulation meter, and then strip armor. But the only downside with her is that she will end up draining so much energy. Set enemies ablaze, you get bonus power strength so you can do more damage with your abilities. But unfortunately, her kit will fall off very early on. The only good thing about her is Fire Blast and armor stripping enemies, and using her Inferno to give energy with her augments. And where do we put her? We put her in C tier. I jumped. Yeah, I forgot Caliban existed. Doesn't matter. Caliban, the new Warframe that came out with New War. You see, he's too new, I forgot he existed. Caliban, he has an interesting kit. His 1st ability, of course, is his most useless ability. His Stomp, guess what? A pretty decent CC, and it's actually better on anyone else than him, than Caliban himself. His redeeming quality, though, is his 4th ability. Dragging in enemies and armor stripping them. And you can debuff them. But guess what? As soon as you drag them in and armor strip them, they will just be dead. His 3 is very clunky. And all it does is it increases your shield regen. See, these guys already have no armor and easy kill. His only redeeming quality is being okay, not great. Now, if you're gonna tell me, but his 4 is the only ability that has permanent armor strip. No, there's actually lots of permanent armor strips in the game. Oberon's 4th ability, when you combine it with the 2, that's a permanent armor strip. Shattering Impact, that's a permanent armor strip. But if you're saying ability only, guess what? Fire Blast from Ember is a permanent armor strip. Gauss's Thermal Sunder is a permanent armor strip. Caliban is not the only Warframe in the game that has permanent armor strip. He will go into the D tier. Mag, permanent armor strip. There you go. Here we go with EQUINOX. One of the most annoying Warframes to farm. Not the hardest, annoying, because you have to farm night and day. But guess what? Prime Warframes exist. She's an okay frame, very good support. But unfortunately, as time passes, she's starting to see less and less play. Yes, she does have some interesting niche builds if you do include Gloom in there, switching between night and day, stunning enemies. Her night form will slow down enemies with Pacify. Her Mend will regenerate shields when you kill enemies, so it's easy shield regen. Her day form with Metamorphosis will give you a base damage multiplier on your guns, give you a speed multiplier, so making you run fast if you want to do fast missions. Yes, it's very good. But unfortunately, she's at a weird niche that other frames can do what she does better. So unfortunately, we're gonna keep her in the C tier. Are you guys triggered that I put her in C tier? Good. Don't care about your feelings. Excalibur, our homeboy Excalibur. Now, this Warframe is the poster boy of Warframe. Let me tell you a shocking truth. Are you guys ready? Excalibur Umbra is the worst Excalibur. It goes Excalibur Prime, regular Excalibur, and then Umbra. Why is Umbra bad? Forces you with 3 Umbral polarities. You don't need to have 3 Umbral mods on your builds. Secondly, his passive can actually get you killed. You go into your operator, he runs around, gets shot by some enemies. Yes, that doesn't mean he's a very good frame just because he has sentience. What makes Excalibur good? For one, Excalibur is very easy to build, especially for new players. His second ability will stun and blind enemies. Third ability will stun enemies. His fourth ability is a very straightforward melee. Deal damage, crouch, send flying blades. So yeah, he's a very easy to build Warframe. Very nice for new players, a very deadly Warframe, and can definitely be taken into endurance runs. But guess what? Umbra is the worst, because look at this. If I go in and out of his Warframe, I still get to use my fourth ability. In Umbra, I'd have to recast my fourth. And recasting a fourth has a long animation, which can get you killed. And his third ability can give you crazy damage multipliers on your melee. So yeah, he's very good for new players and even intermediate and veteran players. Excalibur is just your basic Warframe. So he will go into B tier. Frost, my homeboy. Oh my God, Frost. Can we get an F in chat for Frost? Because Frost, my homie. Can we get an F in chat for Frost? I love this man. He was my first Prime Warframe. He popped my Prime Cherry. D tier. Now, why would I give Frost D tier? Frost was good for a niche back in the days, protecting an objective. His abilities have shown their age massively. His 4 requires so much power strength to armor strip, and the armor strip only lasts if enemies are frozen. 250% power strength just to have enemies armor stripped. His 4th ability, Augment, is very good. It gives you status immunity, etc, etc, but unfortunately the animation is also very long. His Snow Globe, yes, his Snow Globe has that niche one-shot. If you haven't seen my Nuke Frost, go check it out. Yes, his 4th ability does have that niche one-shot where you gather them in, right? And you can one-shot because his globe will deal true damage. But unfortunately, that's a niche playstyle. He's good for what he used to do, defend an objective. We don't care about defending an objective anymore because we kill things so fast now. It's impossible to even need something to defend an objective unless you're very new to the game. Please show Frost some love. DE, I'm looking at you. Okay, Gara made Frost pretty useless because Gara can defend an objective, kill enemies, and also protect herself. Hey, time to get canceled on Twitter. I called a game character a he. Well, there is she. All right, Gara can protect herself and even can protect allies. Her ring doesn't scale as well as Frost Bubble, but still, she does a really good job. Unfortunately, you have to build around a stat stick, you know, a weapon that's not used as traditional melee weapon, only used to boost your Warframe's melee ability. So this stat stick will help you damage the 4 so you can build up your 2 so your 2 can do damage. Yes, she has great scaling, damage reduction, she's quite tanky, but unfortunately it locks you into a playstyle. So we'll have to give GARA a B tier. She's very good, but it locks you into a playstyle, and that playstyle can't really be taken anywhere else except, you know, in survival or interception. Okay, Garuda. Y'all underestimate this beast. Now, for those who don't know, if you lose health, Garuda gets a damage multiplier on everything. That's her passive. It's an amazing passive that people don't even know, which is pretty juicy for all of your weapons. Her Dread Mirror protects you from incoming damage. If it builds up enough damage, you can dish it out to deal more damage to enemies. If you use your Dread Mirror against an enemy at a certain threshold, you can one-shot. Her second ability is her worst. You replace that, Nourish. It's easier, it's more mobile. You can use any other ability. You can use Ember's Fire Blast to heal you with the augment, or you can use Nourish to give you toxin damage and heal you, because you're going to be moving back and forth between Bloodletting and a healing ability. Bloodletting will damage your health and give you energy, so she has an infinite supply of energy. Her fourth ability will debuff enemies, have them take flash damage from everything that you dish out at them. So this one that deals impact will also deal slash if it's paired with the fourth ability. A very deadly Warframe. Unfortunately, you do have to replace her second ability just so she can be a bit more mobile. Without her second ability, she's a stationary Warframe. That is the downside to Garuda. But Garuda is a beast. For those who don't know her and underestimate her, well, unfortunately, you haven't done her justice. Garuda, A+ Warframe. All right, coming at you with speed, because it is time to do our deja vu. Where's Gauss? I can't read letters. Gauss. Now, Gauss is speed. He's speed incarnate. Using his first ability, you can crash into enemies, build up your redline meter, activate your redline, hit enemies, use your thermal sunder, freeze enemies, burn enemies, hit them, and use your 2 twice. Look, that is permanent armor strip. Look at that. And it has better AoE. Just his 3. Didn't use any other weapons, just his 3. Enemies died. So yeah, do not underestimate this beast. His fourth ability gives you fire rate, reload speed, attack speed, and deals impact and puncture damage. Unfortunately, those are weak and useless, but still one of the deadliest abilities out there, making all of your other abilities potent. Gives you damage reduction, 100% damage reductions to IPS, impact, puncture, slash, fire, ice damage, and blast. Unfortunately, you will take damage from other DOTs, and this will give you more melee damage and converts damage you take into energy, and his passive literally regens your shields the more you build up kinetic energy. So the more you're moving, the more you're rebuilding your shields, the more you're dealing damage. So he is not for people who like to sit still. S tier Warframe. Here we go. Speed is key. Yes, speed is absolute key. Grendel. I should have more to say about Grendel, right? Unfortunately, I don't. His second ability is his only useful ability. His entire kit revolves around you eating enemies. His abilities contradict his kit, which is unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. If you replace his first ability, you can't use his other abilities. You're stuck in this bad character design. Good concept, but poorly executed. His second ability, yes, it heals you, but one of his buffs will give you toxin damage multiplier. Basically giving you all your weapons toxin damage, which is damn good. And it combines with other elements on your weapon. That's the key thing about his second ability that is worthwhile using. Other than that, he's horrible. His fourth ability turns you into a ball, basically making you vulnerable to incoming damage. And your biggest weakness is stairs. Without the augments, you're pretty much screwed. Garbage. Harrow Prime, the priest, the man, the legend, the spinning his big fat, you know what I'm saying, around to give you energy. Where is he? Harrow Prime. Yes, with with Christmas, we got HARROW Prime, our latest Prime Warframe. He is one of the best supports, but he is also a bad support. Now, why would you say that? Because him giving you energy, you need to be within the area, and allies can't get energy unless you kill them, and they can't give energy themselves unless you have the augments. So you have to cuck your builds just so you can play with other people, which is a horrible design. The augments are supposed to enhance your abilities and not band-aid fix the abilities, which is a problem with a lot of augments in the game. Augments do need a rework. They're just band-aid fixes for bad ability design. Unfortunately, HARROW's augments are like the worst ones. Like, you only use them for meme builds. HARROW is perfect without any augments. His first ability can crowd control enemies, open them up for headshots, replenishes your shields, and grants you overshields. Second ability sacrifices your shields, but gives you healing when you damage enemies, and fire rate and attack speed, which is a DPS increase. Not to mention that fire rate increase will also be useful with faster reload speed. Thurable, swing your thing around, kill enemies, get energy back. Pretty straightforward. Covenant, press 4, go invulnerable, and basically when you take damage, it will turn that damage into a crit buff, giving you 200% crit on headshots, 50% on body. Now you can animation cancel this by pressing the ability and double tapping escape. Very deadly Warframe. If you haven't seen my recent HARROW Prime video, go check it out. It's a lot of damage. Unfortunately, he's a support but not a team player. He's good, but still lacking in some places. Definitely A+ Warframe. If you're gonna say, oh, HARROW's used for Eidolons, like if you were doing Eidolons, you would know nobody uses HARROW anymore. It's just 2 volts and that's it. All right, coming to thick mommy, thick thighs, big, unfortunately not big titties because she flat. She got thick thighs though, and better abs than you, that's for sure. This lady can crush your soul by just looking at you. Now, let's go over her abilities real quick. Her first ability, horrible. Second ability is her helmet ability, pretty much giving it to any other Warframe, making her less special as it is. Yes, it can strip shields and armor and give you status cleanse. Haven will basically drain your shields, increase shield capacity, and also give your allies your passive, which is a 3-second shield gate. But guess what? HILDRYN's 3-second shield gate isn't unique because another Warframe has it as well. Her fourth ability is the worst, slows you down, locks you into an animation when you get into it and get out of it. Unfortunately, she's just INAROS with tits that can use pillage. C tier Warframe. Coming to HYDROID. That's it. Coming to INAROS. INAROS. All right. Any INAROS mains in chat? Hey, YouTube, looking at me. Look, it's INAROS. Are you guys? I can't even spell his name. Are you guys ready? You're born ready? Okay, this Warframe sucks. Get over it. He's nothing but sand. His first ability, oh, it can CC enemies. Guess what? Every single Warframe in the entire game has crowd control abilities. His 2 literally drags an enemy, locks you into animation while he gives that enemy head. It's useless, doesn't do anything. His third ability turns you to a freaking sandstorm. His fourth ability has you stand still, draining your health, giving you armor. That's it. But the fourth ability has an augment that gives you status immunity. But guess what? There are Warframes that do that without an augment. He's very good though for new players who are still understanding the game and don't have crazy mods that give them a false sense of tankiness. Unfortunately, he's not tanky. It's nothing but health. Health and armor do not scale that well in Warframe. They do need a rework, and unfortunately, so does INAROS, because he is nothing but health and armor. If this is your favorite frame, use him, but he's not the best. So stop saying he's the best. He is the only Warframe with 5 useless abilities, right? His passive is useless. His freaking first ability is useless. His second ability is useless. His bomb is useless. So no, get over it. Trash frame. Now you are free to rage in the comments section down below, but guess what? No one cares. Pepe loser. Moving on to IVARA. There we go. IVARA. I love this girl so much. But just like some other Warframes, right? She does lock you into a playstyle. Yes, when you use her third ability, you do get that headshot multiplier, get that steal, basically allowing you to get resources from enemies pretty fast, but it makes you move slow, and you have to use all these weird dodge rolls to make you maneuver even faster. Now, there is also a downside to this. If you do bullet jump, you get removed out of stealth. If you sprint, you get removed out of stealth. Let's summon enemies. If you make melee contact with enemies, you start to lose energy a lot faster. That is the downside with this ability. But guess what? If you have decent energy regen, you will never have a problem. Unless you go melee like crazy. Yes. Her first ability gives you different buffs. A dash wire, where you can go on top of it. This will give you a crit damage buff if you have the augment. Her second ability will give you this navigator, allowing you to control a projectile, and it will increase the damage the further it travels. The fourth ability allows you to use an exalted bow. Very good in Eidolon hunts and very good in regular gameplay. And when you use the augments in regular missions, allow you to destroy and explode enemy heads. It's very fun. She is a very tactical warframe. So if you like being stealthy, sneaky, and all that, she's your warframe. And no, she's actually the worst spy frame in the game. Even though she's designed around being stealthy and tactical, she's actually the worst spy frame in the game. So definitely gonna give her A tier. Okay, KHORA. Guys, it's time to strip, because you know you're gonna get dirty and naughty up in here with KHORA. You guys ready? Oh my stupid. Okay, we already know where she's gonna be placed, right? We already know where she's gonna be placed. If you like damage with a side of damage, with extra sauce of damage, and then with an extra order of damage for takeaway, you know, then KHORA is your girl. You can build her for pretty much anything. Really good for farming with her fourth ability augment. That's why HYDROID is useless in a dumpster. Rework HYDROID DE. Her second ability groups up enemies, and it's a friggin' helmet ability, so you can use it in other warframes. Groups up enemies, incapacitates them, and drags in more enemies. First ability scales off combo counter, so at max combo you get a 3.75 times base damage multiplier, and it's a pseudo exalted weapon, so it works with a stat stick. Build your stat stick for crits, raw damage, elements, and your one will do a lot of damage. She has an augment called Accumulating Whip Claw, right? That gives you a base damage multiplier with each hit that caps out at 350%. That's a base damage multiplier. Power strength and using this augment both give you base damage multiplier. So putting them together is using the same multiplier and will give you diminishing returns. Since we have this augment, we can sacrifice power strength, build her for other things. Her third ability is her cat, and we don't care about her cat. You can replace that cat with any other helmet ability. Her fourth ability, crowd controls a room, gives you a 200% damage multiplier with weapons and abilities. Unfortunately, her whip claw doesn't count with that. Also, it's a radiation proc, kinda. So enemies caught in the dome will basically get the attention and aggro other enemies outside. So yeah, KHORA is deadly, does a lot of damage. If you haven't seen my video where I do crazy red crit numbers and one tap enemies, go check that out. Definitely S tier warframe. Yes, that's how good she is. All right, here we are with LAVOS. Why? His design was a good concept, but again, just like GRENDEL, poorly executed. But he's very good for railjack. That's copium. Yes, but he got the new augment. So you're saying that he has to use the augment just so he can use his abilities a lot more. Again, that sounds like a band-aid fix, and you're tied to that augment. So building LAVOS without that augment, his first ability augment to reduce the cooldowns, again, bad design. Yes, he does a lot of damage with his 4, but it takes a lot of setup. If you guys don't agree with this, you're absolutely wrong, and you're free to get triggered in the comment section. All right, Limbo. I love and hate this warframe. Mostly hate, but you know, we're gonna immediately put Limbo in C tier. Why? Because he's not friendly to play with. He's just like Frost. Old design, most unique warframe in the game, the only Warframe that can go into the Rift plane. Yes, you can be invulnerable, immune to damage. You can't deal damage to enemies outside the Rift. You have to bring them into the Rift. Yes, it requires freaking 5-head level of gameplay. Now, if you're saying, but he's good at protecting an objective. Remember what I said, how protecting an objective is useless? Because we just kill everything? Solo content. Again, any Warframe can do solo content. Limbo is very good at trolling your friends or teammates or even new players who don't know what's happening. And he basically gives you a very, very bad stylized version of Borderlands inside of Warframe. Now, Loki. We love Loki, okay? I love Loki. Love Loki so much. But unfortunately, he has to go to C tier. Now, why do I put Loki in C tier? His first ability, if it only scaled off duration. His second ability is just invisibility without anything extra. At least Ashe, when you go invisible, you stun enemies, stagger them, and they're open to finishers. But Loki just goes invisible. His switch teleport allows you to... It does what it does. You switch places with a target. It's good for spy missions, putting your decoy in a hard to reach area and switching with them. That's about it. His only good ability is his fourth ability. It permanently disarms enemies. That's about it. He's a very good Warframe for specific content. His only useful tool is his 2 and 4. He could be better. Make his decoy scale of duration, not on power strength, because nobody in their right mind will mod Loki for power strength unless they're going for a meme setup or using a helmet ability that requires power strength. Okay, you see, do I need to say any more? Do I need to say anything else about Mag? Should I elaborate? Okay, it's time to elaborate with Mag because apparently people don't understand Mag. Okay, her first ability is weird, so you always replace it. Magnetize, damage multiplier, nuking with weapons, makes projectile weapons deadly. When it ends, things explode. Standing around it, inside it, you don't take damage. Her 3, strips enemy armor. Use the augment, jams enemy weapons. 4, stuns enemies, gives you shield back. Oh yeah, forgot to mention, polarize also gives you shield back. So you have 2 abilities that gives you shield back. She does a lot of damage. So much damage with guns. If you like using guns just like HARROW, then Mag is your girl. Mining tool. Yes, guys, if you haven't seen the Twitter, go check out the Twitter, what I did with Mag. All right, pretty simple, right? Dragon enemies. Yeah, whatever you said, your argument was invalid. Mag deserves to be there. There you go. Anyway, moving over to MESA. MESA, very good Warframe. Why? Because she's very, very easy to get into, just like the Excalibur. No, not easy to get into. No, stop it. Stop being naughty. She's very easy to get with. No, that also sounds wrong. User friendly. I got the word. There we go. User friendly. Guys, I got the word. Her second ability is always underestimated. They think that her second ability is just there to give damage to your 4. Yes, it is a base damage multiplier. It's going to be additive to power strength and everything else, and basically power strength will give you a base damage multiplier as well. Her 3 is not an actual damage reduction. It is damage reduction to projectiles. So bullets, you take less damage from bullets. That damage reduction, right, will not save you from splash or melee hits. A melee enemy comes here, whacks you, you're dead, right? If your shields are gone, that is. Her 4, easy aimbots. That's why everybody loves MESA. And you replace her first ability with pretty much anything you want. Zata's Whisper for more damage, Eclipse, Roar, whatever you want. Okay, MESA is a very good frame and very user-friendly for anyone. All right, Mirage. Mirage, definitely an A-tier Warframe. Why? Okay, all about her clones and Eclipse. But where's Eclipse? You have Zata's Whisper. Here's the thing. Yes, you can do whatever you want in this game. And no, you cannot have Eclipse and Zata's Whisper together. That's not how it works. Her first ability gives you clones. These clones will do a portion of your damage. Second ability, blind, staggers enemies. You can use the augment with range to be a DPS in large AoE maps. Eclipse is a weapon damage multiplier. Doesn't multiply any of your abilities. It will multiply your total calculated damage. The fourth ability is very good for fishers. You can dish it out and it will go with you if you're using the augments. But here I replace it with silence just for regular steel path gameplay. Now, Now, she allows you to deal a lot of damage with your weapons. And she's actually one of the best Warframes for Prophet Taker. If you're doing speedruns, yes, there's Saren Volt for Prophet Taker, but Mirage is very good herself. Moving over to Nekros, Bone Daddy Nekros. Unfortunately, Nekros is at a very niche. What is that niche? Resource. Pressing 3. Now, if you say, but Nekros is tanky, blah, 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 it's with an augment. You have to use an augment, okay? Just so you can get damage reduction. Now, damage reduction isn't everything. Now, here's one thing that people really overlook when it comes to Nekros. So, this animation, even with natural talent, that's with natural talent, by the way, that can get you killed. Now, if you didn't know, right, his 1 can do what the 4 does. Right, see? You kill an enemy with your 1, you get another shadow. Okay, his 2, great to crowd control enemies. Yes, so his 2 allows you to armor strip enemies, but it caps out at 80%, and with the augment, it allows you to slow them down. And you can utilize your first ability to actually give you a clone. There you go, free clone without actually casting your 4. And you can use the 4 to basically refresh them if you already have them active on the field. There, that's the simple synergy you can do with Nekros. Yes, he's stuck in this niche where he's just good for looting and a solo type Warframe. Other than that, he deserves to be where he is. NEZHA, this is an easy S. Blazing Chakram, it's a debuff. Okay, allowing enemies to take more damage. Okay, yes, the NEZHA is a trap. No one cares. Warding Halo gives you damage reduction. And if you're running a certain power strength, you can actually shield gate and give you quite a high uptime on iframes. Okay, 4th ability, crowd controls enemies, allows you to summon more chakrams when you hit them with CC'd enemies with Divine Spear. His first ability is very good, but I did replace it because I was playing with a different setup. First ability cleanses allies of status effects. Oh yeah, did I forget to mention his 3rd ability is a free prime sure-footed and free status immune. It's very easy to play this Warframe, and if you haven't played with him now, definitely get into him. Don't not get into him. Let him get into you. Whatever, you know, you do you. Nidus is stuck between a rock and a hard place. I definitely want to give him a really high rank, but unfortunately I'm gonna give him a rank. You guys are triggered. Now, why A rank? I would have given him an S rank any time of the day. See, he's very good at one thing. Locking enemies down in an area. I did replace his 2nd ability. Giving you status immunity and damage redirection with his 3. Summoning this little patch of grass that doesn't scale with range and that heals you over time. Right, holding down his 1st ability can allow you to see where the trajectory of your 1 and maggots are. Okay, detonate your maggots, explode enemies, build up your stacks, and you have health gating. Something INAROS wish he was, but unfortunately, Nidus locks you into a very static playstyle. Basically, stick in one area, press 1 for like hours, because once you get into high level situations, around level 4000, you're going to realize you're building up more stacks than usual. You're going to be running out of stacks really quickly, and you're going to be stuck in this loop. Build stacks, shoot once, build stacks, shoot, CC, build stacks. So it gets you in this repetitive playstyle. I'm still building stacks, as you can see. Let's just end that there. Going in and out of your Warframe will end that stupid animation. So yeah, he locks you into this playstyle that can get very repetitive and very boring. You would either replace an ability to make you more mobile, or just stick to his regular, monotonous, mundane loop of a playstyle. He's very strong, but he's also limited to what he can do. That's why his Nidus is stuck in A tier. He would have been an S tier right off the bat. Nova. I love Nova, but she's in B tier. Okay, now you get. I know you guys are angry, right? Ashe, my most played Warframe in endurance runs. Love Ashe, but he's B tier. Love Gara, B tier. The reason why Nova is B is because you either play her one way or the other. You either play a slow Nova by adding some power strength to slow down enemies, or Speedva, and you can play a Neutrova, a neutral Nova. Yes, but a neutral Nova, it doesn't give you the CC that you want. It keeps enemies at a regular but fast pace, but you want the CC. Her Wormhole is great for speed running in Eidolons and also fast missions, giving you the movement speed with terminal velocity. Her antimatter drop is very locked down and niche when it comes to building. Her fourth ability is what makes Nova, right? Primed enemies will take 200% more damage from all sources, and her first ability will give you damage reduction only to the health, which makes it even more useless. And this day and age, having a little bit of shields is way more important than having tons of health. I have so many builds for Nova because I love her. I play in a lot of situations, but unfortunately she is lacking. She does need some love, you know, making at least her one benefit her shields, you know, that would be so good. Her 4 affecting shields as well make her even better. All right, Nyx. Y'all are thinking, why Nyx an A tier? Y'all don't know what Nyx does, do you? Y'all don't know what Nyx does, huh? Y'all don't know the power of Nyx. She's very, very deadly. Yeah, she's busting. She means business. Let's go over her kit real quickly. Her first ability is her worst ability. You don't use it. Her second ability literally strips 100% of enemy defenses with 130% power strength. That means shields and armor. One tap, boom, gone. Third ability, crowd controls an area. Have enemies shoot at each other. First ability will lock down a target and make them your ally. The higher the enemy is, the more damage it will do. And imagine having a very, very strong Spectre next to you without even having to summon for one. I replaced her fourth ability with Ensnare, so we dragon enemies. So she's suited for high level gameplay. Okay, for people who aren't into high-level gameplay or using their brain cells, who love playing INAROS, then she's not for you. But definitely an actual beast if you know how to play her. Now, Oberon. Rework Oberon. Yes, he does have permanent armor strip where you place your 2 and then use your 4. It does give you status immunity when you're on the grass, but then that's only if you're standing on the grass. If you jump, you're screwed. He is a very outdated Warframe, just like Frost. Yes, you can play that niche playstyle. I mean, this niche playstyle. Where the heck did she go? You go in, summon that, right? And you can one-shot enemies using your Unairu and Mutilus Quanta combo. If you don't know what happened, pretty much what I did. So, Void Blast, Mutilus Quanta. You got that combo. So yes, that combo has been in there for disruption to one-tap enemies, especially high-level enemy units and demolists. That is a single target build, and that's like his most unique niche build that can do a lot of damage. And yes, his Smite Infusion does give you radiation. He is quite an outdated Warframe and needs a rework. Octavia. Octavia... Octavia... You know? Octavia... That's all you do with Octavia. That's it. Protea. You see, okay. I see people here getting, wait, why is Protea S tier? Now, let me say something. Yes, you're angry, you're confused, good. Okay, Protea. Remember what I said about HILDRYN, right? Having a 3-second shield gate. Guess what? With Protea, when you pick up your shield satellites, it also gives you HILDRYN's passive, a 3-second shield gate. And the other form gives you a CC, right? Slashing enemies, staggering them. Her 2 can literally scale into infinite levels of damage. Her 3 gives, of course, her 3 is quite stationary, doesn't move with you, gives you ammo, energy, and health. Her 4, I know a lot of people don't like using her 4 because it reverses, but guess what? Her 4 is an extra layer of survivability. Yes, you can replace her 4 for other things, but boom. Iframe, pay attention. Cast it again. Iframe. Cast it. Iframe. Cast it back. Look at that. Look at my energy, by the way, when I cast this. I am pretty much immortal. If you know how to play her and utilize her 4, I've taken a non-helmet Protea against level 9k. Okay, if you haven't seen, exclamation Protea in chat, level 9k with Protea with no helmet ability, and I was just like cruising. So many friggin' iframes. It was hard to actually die. Go check it out if you haven't. Oh. This is too easy. Do I need to explain? 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 Yes, I do. I do. Oh, stunned? No energy cost? Hey Mom, how's it going? Oh yeah, I'm just doing this video on Twitch. I'm just showcasing something that can't die, you know. How you been? Happy New Year, New Year's Eve, by the way. You good? Hey, that's good to hear. Oh, I have to get back because I'm pretty much stalling for content. Sorry. Yeah, I'll call you later. No worries. Anyway, yeah, that's Revenant. Very easy. RHINO. RHINO is an instant B tier. Okay, why is RHINO B tier? Even though I love RHINO and I did some crazy builds with him. Iron Skin, damage immunity, CC immunity. Okay, first ability is useless, we'll remove that. Roar, universal damage multiplier, multiplies the damage you deal with your abilities and gives you a faction damage mod on your weapons, allowing you to do 2 times more damage. So it's pretty crazy. Stomp, a very good CC with very good base range, right? His passive is stupid. His energy pool is stupid. He needs an augment just to recast his Iron Skin. He needs an augment just to recast Roar. But guess what? Eclipse, press it. Vex Armor, press it. Zata's Whisper, press it. Octavia, toss it. So again, he's in a bad place just because of the way he was designed. He's an older Warframe, just like Frost, Hydroid, and the others. He does need an update. Hook RHINO up. Other than that, he's a great Warframe for pretty much any content. Literally any content. Okay, for Eidolons, for Elite Sanctuary Onslaught, to buff your allies. If you're gonna take him in endurance runs, crazy. His Roar is a friggin' helmet ability. Okay, if you want a CC Warframe for interception, press 4. Press 4. For those console landies, you press whatever button that corresponds with 4. Okay? Saren. Wow, someone. Okay, I guess it's a bit too easy. Saren. Woo, Saren. Okay, Saren. Is this hard? Is this hard to do? Is this hard to do? Okay. Saren, her first ability. Let's just go over her abilities real quick, okay? First ability will literally throw spores on an enemy, have them take damage over time, spread onto other enemies, strips their armor on top of that to 80%. Second ability, cleanses you of status effects, gives you a movement speed multiplier, draws enemy fire. When it explodes, it deals toxin damage, popping more spores. Her third ability coats her weapons in toxin damage, which is a separate source of toxin damage. Does not combine with any of your elemental mods. Basically a separate instance of damage, easily double dipping in damage, scales with your weapons damage, faction mods, and power strength. Hell yeah. Fourth ability, stuns enemies, deals viral damage, and helps spread spores. She is hella deadly. So if you haven't seen my Saren versus level 9k, completely just cheesing content, go check that out. All right, crazy Warframe, scales crazy levels with toxin damage. Titania. Okay. Unfortunately, she's stuck in this. What? Sevagoth? We'll get to Sevagoth. Unfortunately, the order is weird, okay? The order is weird. We'll get to Sevagoth, no worries. Titania, C, rank C. Her first ability, it's very niche, gives you a free prime sure-footed, CC's enemies. Second ability gives you several buffs. Third ability, CC's enemies, very good for a full-on CC build. As you notice, there's a lot of crowd control. Her fourth ability, summons razor flies, turns you into a little pixie, allows you to use exalted pistols and melee, which is for niche setups. Her guns are very good for single target damage, a very niche pick when it comes to Eidolon hunts, and a very solid warframe for speed runs. She is the fastest warframe in the game. And fissures. If you equip the helmet ability Thermal Sunder, you can rush through maps, spam 4, kill things, and get out very, very, very fast. Okay, unfortunately, she's just every single warframe has a crowd control ability. Her crowd control doesn't make her as unique as other warframes. It's very good, but it's not that great. Okay, her weapon damage with exalted are pretty weak, and there are better exalted weapons out there that do a lot of damage. Sevagoth, you ready? B tier for basic. He can debuff enemies, slow them down, goes into his shadow state, has new weapons and new abilities. But I want to ask you one thing. Do you guys actually play Sevagoth, or do you use his subsume on other warframes? Because I haven't seen an actual Sevagoth in a mission. All I see people doing is subsuming him off and putting his abilities on other warframes. You do play Sevagoth? He's okay. He's pretty basic. He's pretty much the combination of NEKROS and Valkyr with a little bit of INAROS passive that would have been better on INAROS. So yes, he's just basic. Nothing special about him except Gloom, which you definitely use on literally any other warframe, because, you know, everybody loves Gloom. I like slowing things down. They can't hit me. Oh, look, I get lifesteal. INAROS can lifesteal. Oh, wait, I'm dead again. I'm alive, but I can lifesteal, and then I'm dead again. Okay, that's pretty much Sevagoth, right? Trinity. Everybody knows what Trinity can do. Trinity is not about big damage. She's literally the only warframe in the game that can support the best. She is the best support. She gives energy. She replenishes your shields. She gives you damage reduction. She gives herself status immunity, damage redirection. She is literally the best support in the entire game. And if you use her augment, she can strip armor. 3 targets at a time, unfortunately, but still, she can strip armor. Her second ability does true damage. So you proc viral on an enemy, press 2, you can literally one-shot those guys. Combine that with marked for death, you can nuke an area. So she is an A+ warframe. Valkyr, C tier warframe. Her first ability sucks. Her second ability gives you attack speed. Guess what? Her third ability sucks. Her fourth ability allows you to do a lot of damage. It is one of the strongest exalted melees out there. Not as strong as BARUK's, but it's still very strong. If you haven't seen my Acolyte Slayer Valkyr, go check that out. She becomes invulnerable to damage with her fourth ability. It does drain energy when it gets to a certain point. So you have to be very mindful on how you play. You can't just stay in your 4 forever. She does need an update or a tweak, something to make her better than she currently is. She is just a spin to win crazed kitty. Her second ability is literally better off on any other warframe because, hey, all it gives you is attack speed. All right, Vauban, my boy Vauban. Vauban's very good, very, very good. Oh yes, remember when we were talking about permanent armor strip? Guess what? Vauban is another warframe that gives you permanent armor strip with Bastille. You can crowd control an area with Bastille. You can summon many of these and control an area, even control a choke point when you use Vortex, grouping up enemies and loot. First ability can CC enemies, shock them, stun them a little bit. If you use the augment, you can blow up a little area. Second ability, you have Flechette Orb, crazy damaging little things. Overdriver is a damage multiplier to abilities and weapons, which is pretty deadly. And the third ability is Poopy, we don't care about. Vector Pad is a meme, definitely a very strong warframe, okay? But he gets an A tier. He's good, but he's not that great. Volts. my boy. Volts, 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 volts. Volts, 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 volts. Volts, volts, volts. My boy. Volts. A tier. Now, not S tier. I love him. Most played Warframe. He's definitely A tier. He has a niche and he's also pretty widespread in what you can do with him. Now, what do I mean as a niche? He is the only best Eidolon hunting Warframe in the entire game. As a DPS, your main DPS, and as a Void Strike user. He's the only Warframe with an ability that can permanently buff your operator's amps. His shields give you electric damage with each shield cast down. And his shields will give you crit damage buff. Basically, whatever crit damage you had is multiplied by 200%, allowing you to do crazy amounts of damage on top of electric damage. His 2 is a speed buff, makes you move fast, attack fast with your melee, and guess what? It can animation cancel. Look at that. That's an animation cancel with contagion. His 4 is good in ESO and crowd controlling and regenerating shields if you're using the capacitance augment. The first ability, yes, it charges your shields, so if enemies pass through it, they get stunned. It stacks up electric bonus with your 4th ability, but its best use is running with Shock Trooper, which gives you electric damage buff on your weapons, which is an electric damage multiplier. But then again, he's useful for pretty much any content, for endurance, for speed clears, Eidolon hunts, Fisher missions. Very, very good Warframe. But unfortunately, he lacks more when it comes to his 4th ability and his 1st ability. Now, Wisp. Wisp. Instant S tier. Now, what makes Wisp very strong? Let me explain it. Her 4th ability is poopy. Now, her 1st ability, right? Her 1st ability will give you a speed buff, an attack speed buff, fire rate buff, health regen, and can stun enemies with electric. Look at that. And this is a guaranteed electric proc. That guaranteed electric proc can buff any condition overload weapons, you know, with condition overload or melee. Her passive allows her to become invisible whenever you jump very easily. Her 2 basically does what Loki does. Decoy, turning you invisible, and teleporting where your decoy went. This is literally Loki's entire kit. This is Loki's entire kit in a 2nd ability. And when you teleport, it makes you invulnerable. Teleport, invulnerable. Draw enemy fire, become invisible, all in one friggin' ability. Not to mention, Breed Surge blinds enemies, allows them to take even more damage, and then spread that damage to other enemies. And guess what? It's a helmet ability. One of the helmet ability that literally works on any Warframe. This is why Wisp is an instant S tier. Her 4th ability is for memes, so don't worry about it. Everybody loves Wukong, and Wukong gets an instant A tier. Why is Wukong A tier? He is the best spy frame. Yes, Wukong is the top tier spy frame. And then it comes Wisp. Gives you a clone. You can mark a target, have them take more damage from your clone. Your clone will basically mimic what weapon you have. If you switch to another one, it will switch to your primary. If you switch to melee, it switch to your primary. He fights alongside you. You summon your clone. He does what you do. You use a gun, he uses a melee. Look at that. He's using a melee, I'm using a gun. When I press 2, you become invulnerable. Unable to take damage. Stun enemies, make your clone invulnerable, move really fast, okay? And your 3rd ability will make you invulnerable to damage, knock back enemies, give you some armor. The armor part is useless, but it is an easy iframe, allows you to reposition yourself. Okay, so iframe, rolling guard, iframe, another iframe. It makes Wukong very hard to kill. Of course, he has an exalted weapon. It's a very useless exalted weapon. Why? Because of its stance. If it had a better stance, it will be probably better. So yes, and he has a passive that allows him to cheat death 3 times. So if you mess up and your Martyr Symbiosis is on cooldown, you get to cheat death. So yes, he's technically the somewhat immortal Warframe. Somewhat. Okay? Zaku. Zaku's an instant A tier. Why is Zaku A tier? He's good, but he's not S tier. Why? Because you are locked in an area. Because Zaku depends on his gaze to strip enemy armor. That enemy armor is locked behind that area you've casted it on. You can't move, be mobile. You're just moving back and forth from that area. His 2 is insane, right? Crazy damage, but you can always be replaced because his 1 is also good. So it's either you replace his 1 or you replace his 2. Anybody in the comments angry that I'm calling Zaku a he? Good. It's a video game character. Get over yourselves. Hey, Zaku, are you mad I'm calling you a he? Hey, Zaku. Oh, look, he can't respond because he's a video game character. So, very good with he does a lot of damage with his second ability, scales with enemy level, crazy damage. His 4th ability gives you evasion, but evasion isn't an absolute survivability tool. It's a chance to not get hits. Okay, doesn't mean you're not going to get hit. It's a chance to not get hits. That's about it. 3rd ability, you only use gaze to armor strip. Other than that, there's no point using the other ones. Very solid Warframe, but unfortunately locks you into that, you know, little area that you armor stripped with the 3rd ability. Can I please? Zephyr, instant S tier. Okay, Zephyr. Why is Zephyr instant S tier? Now, should I show this? Yeah, that's Zephyr. Zephyr is made strong is because of her tornadoes. Her tornadoes will distribute 100% of the damage, status effects, and the crits that you deal, and it will also multiply your crit damage by 200%. She's insane. Okay, her 2nd ability, very great crowd control. Dragging enemies, if you quick tap it, throwing them away, if you hold it, is insane. Turbulence allows you to literally dodge bullets. Okay, you're literally matrixing this with this character. Bullets come, deflected, will hit the enemy behind you. And if you use the augment, it will increase your projectile flight speed, so very good with projectile weapons. 1st ability, it's replaceable, instantaneous. Her passive, yes, it makes you floaty, but when you float, you get that 150% crit chance, which is insane because it can combine with other crit mods, making her crazy deadly. You can build her for many different things. Control an area, kill things. Unfortunately, she does lock you into a playstyle, but this playstyle isn't restricted to having a lot of power strength. With Zaku earlier, you need to have 100% power, 200% power strength for the armor strip. With her, you don't need to build so much power strength. You don't need to build so much range. You don't need to build so much duration. She's a very flexible Warframe and quite light on her toes. That's what keeps her in S tier. And this comes to a conclusion of the tier lists. Yareli sucks. Get over it. Horrible Warframe. Cry in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching this 2021-2 tier list. If your feelings got hurt, I feel so good that your feelings got hurt because I put your favorite Warframe where you think they shouldn't have been put because, you know, your opinion doesn't matter. I'm not kidding. Anyway, if you hate my guts, be sure to leave how you feel down in the comments section because I love reading your pain, your angry comments. It basically makes my day. So thank you so much for hanging out, guys. You guys are awesome. You've made this a wonderful journey, and see you next year. Kiss a homie, and as always, peace. Yeah, say bye to YouTube. Bye YouTube. Bye YouTube. Monkey kiss. This tier list is pretty accurate. Yeah, I'm just gonna leave this up here for those who want to see. Yeah, so the garbage tier list, we've included a new entry, and that is Yareli. Unfortunately, your mom's not here, so she couldn't fit. Bye YouTube frogs. Bye YouTube frogs.